sports junkie as a kid. I used to read Sports Illustrated cover to cover, and I just really always wanted to be a sports writer. And I played sports myself, so I just almost fell into covering news accidentally, writing for the student paper at UW Eau Claire, and then I was sort of hooked on the news after that.
When you get into investigative reporting, you can create some enemies doing that, right? And you kind of stir up some trouble.
And yes, many of them caused a gigantic uproar.
And how do you deal with like angry people coming up to you in town or the angry phone calls?
Oh, it's not easy. I'm a lot more used to it now because I've experienced it for a long time. It's difficult. I've had a loaded gun pointed at my head because of a story I was writing, with a guy threatening to shoot me. I've been threatened with a knife. I've been threatened with losing my job. I've been threatened with lots of things. And mostly it's not that dramatic. A lot of it is just people being really angry at you. You just have to be willing to put yourself out there publicly and be willing to take a lot of public criticism and just hope that the quality of your work in the end stands out.
Now, the series you did on homelessness, you probably didn't get a lot of angry email, but you got maybe created some positive change with that.
It was people basically saying two things. Oh my God, this is happening in my community. And secondly, what can I do to help? I'll also tell you that despite all of those really good efforts, the need now is greater than it was 5 years ago when I first set out on that project. So one really cold, early December night, 5 years ago, at the end of my workday at the Leader Telegram office, instead of going home, I decided to walk a few blocks over to Sojourner House Homeless Shelter, just right over there, to see what it was like to be homeless in a winter in Eau Claire, and a really cold winter. As I walked, there were these Christmas carolers, and they were singing really beautiful music right near this very spot right there. I continued right down the street after listening for a minute and wound up in front of the Sojourner House, and I was struck by the vast differences between the joyous scene that I experienced here in the park and the difficulties that the folks gathered in front of the homeless shelter were experiencing. This is Sojourner House Homeless Shelter, downtown Eau Claire. On busy nights, they have more than 50 people spending the nights here. And there still is a demand. If they had more space, there would be more people.
They can't stay here during the day?
No, about 7 every morning, they head out and trying to survive and stay busy and stay warm. And then the doors open again at 7 at night. So they'll start gathering here at about 6 o'clock tonight, and just a few at first and then more and more, with the hopes that there are enough beds for all of them. We spent many, many late nights and early morning hours, almost overnight, multiple times, out on the streets with these people. So we would work during the day, and then at night, 6:30 or so, we would head out on the streets. And that On the Streets was the title of our series we did. That was a historically cold winter. We chose to do this, which made for a really compelling story about people living outside in those conditions. It was also really hard on our bodies, but I got really, really, really sick, and it took me months to recover. I think I just got worn down and run down from being out in that weather that long. What about people that I had become friends with, or outside, or sleeping on a parking ramp floor? How do they endure that every night? Or some of them walked all night because they knew if they laid down, they may not wake up again because they may well freeze to death. When it's 25 below zero, surviving a night like that outdoors is almost unimaginable. And we were ever so grateful to those people who were willing to expose their really, really harsh lives and to let us tell their tales with the hope, they said, that it would potentially lead to some good efforts to try and address homelessness in this city.